This is the plaintiff, Deborah Imafidon. She says the defendant was her tenant, and let's just say things didn't go so smoothly when he lived there. In fact, another tenant of hers vacated because of the very loud fights coming from the defendant's apartment. When he finally moved out, he left an awful mess. He didn't pay the rent in full, and she's suing him for the $2,010.77 she's owed. This is the defendant, Atiba Edwards. He says he has no idea what he could have possibly done to make the plaintiff so mad at him, and he has no idea why she's suing him here in this court. He agrees their landlord-tenant relationship wasn't a marriage made in heaven, but he was shocked when he found out she was actually suing him for things he definitely does not owe. He's accused of being a bit too loud.
All parties, please raise your rating.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff was the defendant's landlady and says the dude was so loud, fights and all, that other tenants bailed, and he was a slob to boot. But the defendant says he has no idea why she's so pissed. It's the case of loud and proud.
Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas. Okay, Deborah Imafidon, you are suing Atiba Edwards, your former tenant?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, for $2,010.77 that you say he owes you in damages and rent and storage costs. Tell me what's going on.
Good day, Your Honor. On November 27th, I responded to an ad on Craigslist placed by Mr. Atiba Edwards. They were looking for a room. I have a 2-bedroom apartment that I'm trying to rent. So I emailed them.
Okay.
So I ended up renting the 2-bedroom apartment to them for $850.
Okay, so
month.
far, is that accurate? $850 a month?
Yes.
That was your agreement with her. All right, and then what happens?
So another issue was they had no money, because usually it's 1 month's rent, 1 month security deposit. So it was like, oh, because of Hurricane Sandy, a lot of people were homeless. So I'm like, okay.
So you let him move in without giving you any money?
Yes, ma'am. That was
Really?
very stupid. Yes, I did.
Okay.
Because I guess I was.
What happened to where you were living?
At that time, only thing I had was my vehicle. So we were pretty much just, rummaging around, trying to find places to stay, staying in the car.
All right, so you rent the place, and then what happens?
So they said.
What month is this now? The hurricane was the end of October?
Mm-hmm.
We moved in November 27th. We made an agreement that they would be paying weekly.
Okay.
The rent is $850. I said, okay, pay $220 the first week, then subsequent weeks, pay $210. But every once in a while, we'll come up with excuses. So I ended up getting.
This is why you
$240.
asked for first, last, and security, so you're sure the person
Yes,
can afford
ma'am.
the apartment.
Yes, ma'am. I guess I was emotional, like, okay, because of Sandy, I was, I really totally understand that they were homeless and they really needed a place and they didn't have any money.
All right, so he ends up paying rent December, January, February, then what happens?
Yes, he did on a weekly basis.
Right.
Then on February 4th, at about 1:40 a.m., I got a call. So it was another tenant in the same house, and she said there is a fight downstairs. Our children were awake crying. So I'm like, what's going on? So I said,
do you
call
call
the
police?
cops.
Yeah.
So she said, okay, she will call the cops, but she didn't feel safe. So she said she had to leave the house that night.
Okay. What was going on?
Me and my girlfriend had an argument.
Physical?
No physical.
Well, it sounds like it was physical because the neighbor is calling the landlord at 1:30 in the morning. It sounds like people were being banged around. So what happens?
So I called him twice. There was no answer. Then I sent him an email at 1:54 a.m. The following morning, he responded to the email apologizing for the noise, saying that it was a situation. I have the email here if you would like to read it.
Yeah, let me see it.
I actually have a copy of the same email.
It has come to my notice that you and your girlfriend are disturbing the peace of the neighborhood by engaging in physical altercations. It was so bad. It's so bad that the tenant on the second floor is considering moving. Any damage to the apartment would be paid for by you. That's what you were worried about, damage to the apartment? Not that he's going to kill someone there? All right, that is why pictures were taken when you moved in. One more report of this nature, you will leave me no other choice but to evict you. You have been warned. I do apologize for the noise complaint. We had an argument and ended it. The situation was outside my control. I tried to resolve the issue numerous times, but kept being aggravated by my partner. If any future disruptions occur, you have my word, I will vacate the premises immediately and pay for any damages. My intentions are not to create any uneasy atmosphere. All right, that's fine. This is happening on February 4th. At some point, he tells you he's leaving. When is that?
That was March 6th at about 10:30 p.m. Mm-hmm. He called me and was crying on the phone, telling me he had to leave, that his girlfriend was making life difficult for him. It was crying uncontrollably, so I was like, what's going on? So I told him, calm down. So where exactly are you going? He said he was going to Brooklyn. this is Newark. You're going to Brooklyn at this was going to 11 at that time. Like, I said, okay, just calm down. So I told him the directions to my house, like, okay,
your
you can
house?
come over. Yes.
To your house.
To her house.
So I
It
said,
shocked
just
me.
come over.
But-
Did you go?
Yes, of course.
Why, of course?
Well, I had received a phone call. I called my mother as well. I had received a phone call that I was to come to Brooklyn because that's where most of my family stays. So I was to come to Brooklyn. but
Received a phone call from who saying you were to come to Brooklyn?
My mother, after I called her after the incident, because I called her before I called the landlord.
Okay, I'm sorry. Stop. You had a fight with your girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
You call your mother, and your mother says, come to Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
Then you call your landlord at 10:30 at night. Why are you calling your landlord? She's not a...
Well, I told her that as soon as a situation would arise, that I would vacate the premises.
So you have
and
to
that I
call
would-
her at 10:30 at night to tell her I just had a fight with my girlfriend? Boo
Well,
hoo hoo.
it wasn't pretty much.
Then she invites you over? Was she barking up your tree?
No, she wasn't
No.
barking up my tree. She's
No,
actually
I'm
a very
married, yeah.
kind, very
So she invites you to her house to do what?
well. Just I guess her intentions
to
were
calm
for
him
me
down,
to
Your Honor,
stay
because he was
there
crying.
for the night, or
Did you
just to
stay there
calm
for the
down.
night?
No, I actually did.
No, his mother picked him up.
All right, so bottom line is he goes home with mom.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and girlfriend moves out, and you go see the apartment, and what do you find?
So, is it a good idea to get chummy with your landlord?
I think it's never a good idea to mix business and pleasure, of course.
Fair enough. That's a pretty standard principle.
I think it's a good idea
Why?
because you'll get less complaints
Well, what happens when something goes wrong and now there's suddenly a relationship?
with the landlord.
Yeah.
That's a problem then.
Yeah, that's a problem. Going inside the courtroom.
So I went over there with my son, and it was a mess. It was like a pigsty. I have
do you have
pictures to
pictures?
show you. Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
can I see those pictures?
When they moved in, Your Honor, if I may say,
Yeah.
they moved in with nothing.
What is this? The top of a TV?
That was my TV, Your Honor.
Okay, and you're suing for $250 because the outside got damaged by burn marks?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you think that you could get $250 if you sold this TV at a flea market? This TV's from what century?
It was 2008, Your Honor.
Right. And what did they do? The TV works, it's just that it has the burn marks on top?
Yes, ma'am.
What were you smoking in the apartment?
I smoked cigarette. Well, my girlfriend smoked cigarettes, and I smoked Black and Milds. So
You smoke what?
Black and Milds. It's a pipe tobacco.
Right. This might be a good time to quit if you have no money for rent and other things, and you're living out of your car. Yes. Wow. Were you working?
Yes, I was.
Was she working?
No, not at the time.
What was she doing all day? Because we know what she wasn't.
Well, I can explain that picture. First of all, we cleaned every day.
No, you didn't, pal.
We cleaned every day that we lived there. Now, the reason why that stove was like that was because, like she said, our electricity and our gas got cut off. So only heat and only source of light that we had was the top of that stove. There was no lights. There was no anything
That's
else
your
in the
defense
apartment.
to whether you did damage to the stovetop with all that. Okay. What happened to the blinds?
The blinds, I guess, were damaged due to simple opening and closing of the windows.
Really? Because it looks like somebody's fist might have gone through them or
No,
something may have.
no.
I mean, it
That
broke.
is a
Simple opening and closing doesn't break it. This is literally ripped off, those little things. I mean, these aren't that expensive. I'm just saying that, what happened to all these doors?
Yeah, I
One of
believe
the
that was
doors-
the night he said it was.
One of the main doors to the smaller bedroom, of which you spoke of earlier, I pretty much smashed the door in because
Wow.
Yeah.
it had a lock on the door that I didn't have the key to, which she was supposed to supply us with.
Okay,
the
so you
room
decided
got-
to just bust it open?
Well, I
with
had
your
no
fist?
choice. I had stuff in the room that I
Well,
needed to
how'd you get
to.
yourself in there to begin with?
She had opened the door, and the room door remained open.
You say this is all horse manure,
Yeah,
right?
no, this
Okay,
wasn't
how
on
did your
here.
fist go through this door to cause
That wasn't a fist.
Oh boy, that sure looks like a fist. It's fist high. What is that?
I just kicked in the door. It was a simple kick in the door.
Oh, just a simple, it's your average everyday run of the mill kicking in the door.
Not-
Oh, you understand she has to replace the door now,
course.
right? Oh, wow. No good deed goes unpunished. What happened to the top of the TV?
We usually burn incense in the house to alleviate from the
You
smell.
people are
of-
burning a lot of stuff in the house. Maybe you need to spend less money on the stuff you're burning in order to be able to pay the electric bill. So go on.
So our agreement was initially from month to month. I told her.
No, what happened to the TV?
Oh, the TV, we just put in, because I didn't have an incense holder, so I would put the incense on the TV and just.
Are you kidding me? You would just burn the incense on the TV, and when that burning part came to the TV, what was supposed to happen? You could put a plate underneath?
It was
How
negligence.
high were you?
It was negligence. I wasn't high at all. It was negligence.
Show me the bills to come up to the figure that you're asking for in damages. What's the $100 you're charging for April?
He has his mattress, his toaster, and then some.
So $100 is for rent for the mattress and the toaster?
Because I just wanted him out.
Why don't you just throw it out? If you already sent him a letter and he doesn't come and pick it up and a month has passed, that's a reasonable amount of time in your state. So now I need you to prove to me the damages. I need to see how you come to $810.77. You don't have them?
I don't have it.
Well, why are you looking for them then?
Material.
You know whether they're in there or not. Why have you been looking for 5 minutes?
I made a list of the things that needed to be replaced.
The list is coming from your flapping gums right now. I want proof. You don't have it?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Based on the evidence that I have seen, I'm finding in your favor on the $850 for March rent. I find this to be a month-to-month contract. I find that you're not entitled to the $100 for the mattress. You want to make arrangements with Officer McIntosh to go pick up your mattress and your toaster?
I definitely will.
Okay, that's what we'll do. And is there any reason why you can't do it in the next 24 hours? No. Good, because I'm going to give you 24 hours to do it. Okay? I'm going to award a nominal amount for that 100-year-old television that he burned. And I'm going to come up with my own estimate for the damages. 4 damaged doors, 5 window blinds, burned walls and floors, kitchen countertops, medicine cabinet. And I'm finding very close to the amount that you've come with no proof on, but just based on your pictures, I can see that it's going to cost you at least $800 to do repairs on this place. So I kind of agree with you. So based on that, I'm finding in your favor in the amount of $1,680. Verdict for the plaintiff. Pay the lady.
Thank you.
On this verdict, the plaintiff has collected for some rent and damage that you are alleged to have caused. What's your feeling on this outcome after this trial?
Well, I had no problem with paying the damages or even going over, the apartment with the landlord. It was pretty much her persistence with just trying to collect the money and not, get in contact or communication with me, because communication ceased as soon as, I moved out.
Where did it all go wrong? I mean, you were communicating fine at one point.
Yeah, we were. And I have the emails to prove it. But at some point, I guess she just got, tired of the back and forth. Well, I really don't know, because I agreed to meet her and do the walkthrough. So it was pretty much just downhill from there.
Make those arrangements with Officer McIntosh on the mattress and come on in here. All right, so you collect not everything you sued for, but you satisfied how this comes out?
Yes, I am. Good riddance to bad rubbish.
Mm-hmm. Well, you really reached out to this guy.
Yes,
Why?
I did. Because he's like my son's age, and I saw him like somebody who was trying to make something out of his life, and I tried to encourage him, but at the end of the day, things didn't work out.
You think it was a good idea to invite him to over your house?
No, it wasn't.
Why'd you do that?
It wasn't. I just felt for him because he was crying, he was weeping, so.
All right, okay. All right, take it to Harvey.
Well, as this gentleman kind of explained, it is true that it's nice to be friends with a landlord until things go wrong. And when things go wrong, it gets really awkward. And it's probably worse than if you didn't get friendly with a landlord at all. Don't mix business with pleasure. It's a pretty good principle. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.